Yes, new bike day. Well, new press bike day, and pretty obvious where it's from. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm James with JC Trails. Today we're going to be reviewing the 2022 Fezzari Signal Peak. The Signal Peak has been in Fezzari's lineup for a couple years. It is their short travel 29er trail bike, also doubles as like an XC rig. The old Signal Peak had a pretty outdated geometry, pretty slack seat tube angle, and a very steep head tube angle. So Fezzari has updated the numbers, but they haven't gone too crazy because this bike still is going to double as their XC / short travel trail bike. A couple of updates they did on the Signal Peak are a 75-degree seat tube angle. They steepened it up a little bit and also slackened out the head tube angle just to 67 degrees. Nothing too crazy, but if you want to check out all the geometry figures and the different specs of the Signal Peak, please check out Fezzari.com. I'll leave a link in the description below, so go check it out. So this Signal Peak I received from Fezzari is their TR version or trail bike. And it comes with a longer travel rear shock, 115 millimeters of travel out back, paired with a 120 fork. If you get the XC version of the Signal Peak, it'll come with a 100 millimeter travel rear shock and a 100 millimeter travel fork. The Signal Peak also comes in two different carbon frames. The one they sent me is the SL Super Light, so different carbon layup, same stiffness and same strength, and they'll have a normal Signal Peak, which is a little bit heavier. This SL weighs a little over 1,800 grams, I believe it's about 1,860 grams for the whole entire frame. Fezzari is going to have different builds of the Signal Peak. I believe the comp model is going to start as low as $35.99, and they'll go all the way up from there. But this one they sent me, it's not a specific build with the part shortage going on. To get this press bike to me to bring their review for you guys, they just kind of put different parts on it, whatever they had left over in their warehouse. But the trail model is going to come with 4-piston brakes, a 120 probably SID fork, and a Sidlux rear shock, and it does have a remote lockout. So we'll talk about that when we go ride it. Also, the trail is going to have a long dropper post. So I'm 5'10", this is a size large frame, and I have a 170 dropper. The one they sent me also has a GX Eagle Axis drivetrain. But enough talking, guys. Let's get this Signal Peak on the trail. Let's see how it rides. All right, just made it to my trail center. Got Maisie, the trail pup, hanging out with me, climbing on the Signal Peak. Well, guys, just finished up the ride on the new Signal Peak. Wish I could have done a little more POV for you, but the batteries kept dying on my GoPro. It's about 20 degrees. I've only ridden it about twice, so this is kind of like my initial impressions. Climbing on the Signal Peak, it's definitely not as efficient as some other bikes I've climbed on in this category. Especially just the most recent one I've ridden is the Trek Top Fuel. That one has like a more energetic, more efficient platform. But with that being said, the Signal Peak has a lot more traction. So if any kind of technical climbing came up, it just handled it like a champ. It's not that it's inefficient. It is a horse link bike, so it has active suspension. It's only 115 millimeters of travel or so. So it's still very efficient in that regard. It's got a linear suspension curve on the rear shock. It feels like it uses the travel really easily, which is great for small bump sensitivity and also traction. But anytime the trail got, remotely smooth, you can reach here to this lockout grip shifter made by RockShox. Really elegant design. You just flip it, locks out the shock, you're screaming up the hill. And then you just push a little button here to release it, and then you can hit some chunk or whatever you want to do. The geometry felt good climbing too. It's a 67-degree head tube angle and a 75-degree seat tube angle. So it is at a pretty comfortable position. The front end never wandered on any steep climbs. Like I said, plenty of traction. Where I really like the Signal Peak is on the flat, tight trails. The 67-degree head tube angle is just so snappy on those tight cutbacks. I haven't ridden a 67-degree head tube angle bike in a long time, and it's nice. Really responsive and tight stuff, and it's just easy to get around turns and just maneuver tight, like technical situations. And if it was a smooth trail, also use that lockout, the remote lockout. You just, you know, wrap the throttle and you're gone. When I was about to do some more technical descending, that's of course when the batteries started dying. So this is where the Signal Peak actually feels really nice. The shock tune on it with the Tetra Link suspension design, super supple, really good small bump sensitivity. But when you did like a maneuver where you kind of wanted to pop the bike over something, it definitely took a little bit more energy. The bike feels pretty planted, especially for a short travel bike. So for me personally, I like a short travel bike to be a little more poppy, a little more spring to it. So I'm curious, I'm gonna open up this air can, see what volume spacer's in there, probably put a bigger one in there, and I think that'll fit my riding style and my local trails a little bit better. A little flat, nice. Yeah, this thing is really fast. Wow. Oh. Oh, it's muddy. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Oh boy. Try this bigger dropout. Oh boy. Oh, it handled it really well. No harsh bottom out. Oh yeah. Really snappy. You forget how snappy a 67-degree head tube angle is. No complaints on the newly designed Signal Peak. The carbon layup and frame look really good. Really quiet. I was surprised how quiet it was. No rattling from the cables. The GX Eagle Axis drive chain held the chain really nice. No chain slap. Also has like the little guard down there with the little ridges on it, so that probably helped quiet it down. Fox suspension felt pretty good. I would be interested to try their other spec bikes with the SID fork and the SID Lux rear shock. How the bike sits, 27 pounds, so 27.5 pounds with pedals. Not too bad for this full trail spec with a 170 dropper. That's really cool. Guys, thanks for joining me today and this initial look at the new Signal Peak. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Definitely gonna be putting more miles on this bike. Bring you guys a long-term review on the Signal Peak, so stay tuned for that. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.